Hey, you probably don't know this, but I used to write fanfiction. Primarily Harry Potter, Hunger Games, and Percy Jackson fanfiction. And I was so invested in the fanfiction community a few years back. And I guess you can probably tell from the title of this video what I'm going to be talking about today, which is fanfiction. So as I mentioned, I have a history with fanfiction and I used to write on fanfiction.net. I've taken down my account since then because, oh god, that's cringy. I wrote it when I was like 11 or 12, I don't remember. There's been a bit of controversy on the subject of writing fanfiction and how the author might view it and how good it is for the literary community. To make things clear, I am all for fanfiction. I adore fanfiction. I think it's great. And I think it's a great outlet for newbie writers. Let's start with why people write fanfiction. For the most part, I've noticed it's because they're unhappy with the ending of a book or a series. And I know for a fact that that's the reason why a lot of people read fanfiction. Another type of fanfiction is drabble, which is like when you don't change the events of the book, but you kind of put more of the characters in there, like their everyday life. People do this because they love the characters so much. Some authors really understand the characters in the books and they have this way of making it sound like this is actually in the book. Like, you know what I mean? Like they kind of capture the way the characters sound. I mean, the main reason for that people write fanfiction is because they want to have fun. It's a creative outlet. They take these characters that someone else has made for them and they make them move. Yeah, there's been some talk about how right fanfiction is. I definitely support it for two major reasons. First one, it broadens in authors' perspectives. I used to use fanfiction as a way to get rid of writer's block. So like with fanfiction, you don't have to think as much about the characters or the world and have it make sense because it's already there for you that someone else has made for you, and you can just like make them move around, and it's just good practice. And also these characters can inspire an author to come up with a world of their own. So a lot of alternative universe stories I've read, they kind of start off with pretty canon characters, but towards the middle they kind of deviate and turn into something more original. Like the characters become a different character because it's a different author who's writing them, and that can really inspire an author to come up with their own characters and come up with their own stories, but they base it on these old characters. I don't know if that makes sense. The other reason why I support it is because it produces incredible writing. I mean, some fanfiction authors on the internet are incredible. They could be published authors. They're that good. And my favorite fanfiction author of all time / favorite fanfiction of all time is The Darkness Within by Kurinoon. It's so vastly different to the original Harry Potter series, but it's just so good. So freaking good, and I love it to pieces, and without fanfiction I would never be able to read that, and she would have never written it. This is just one example. I've read hundreds of fanfiction over the years and they're so good. Again, they always start off as pretty canon and pretty much like the book, but then towards the middle they kind of deviate into something more original. I guess the main reason why some people wouldn't support it is because some authors disapprove of it. I know for a fact that George R. R. Martin detests fanfiction. Like, he thinks it's horrible and not good for the writers of the fanfiction because he thinks that it's like not a good practice for them to like rely on someone else's character / world to come up with their own ideas and stuff like that. And I completely get where he's coming from. Can't really stop it. Like, he can't control his entire fan base because his fan base is so massively huge. But I think authors should have a say in this matter because it's their characters and their stories. Another author that I want to bring up is Stephenie Meyer on 50 Shades of Grey. As you all probably know, 50 Shades of Grey started off as Twilight fanfiction. Stephenie Meyer has spoken out about 50 Shades of Grey. I don't remember her exact words, but it was something along the lines of, good for E.L. James, but it's not really my kind of thing. And I think that's a pretty brilliant way to look at it. E.L. James is hugely successful. Basically, without fanfiction, E.L. James would never have become this huge, and Stephenie Meyer, while she may not like the style of writing that E.L. James deals with, she still thinks like, yeah, good for you. You became successful off my success. That's brilliant. Those are essentially my broader thoughts on fanfiction and why we write it and why I support it. And until next time, I hope you're happy.